All right, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. Got a whole bunch of good crypto news stuff for you today. And the first thing I want to talk about is that Americans got 90 days to stop trading, but Binance America is coming. So if you are an American and you have a Binance account, you have crypto on that, probably should get that off of there pretty soon, and then just wait a little while until Binance America's come out. However, it doesn't seem like Binance America is going to be all that great. So less than 90 days to cease trading on Binance. On June 14th, the world's most popular exchange updated its terms of use. Unfortunately for U.S. citizens, that means Binance is unable to provide services to any U.S. person. Binance maintains the right to select its markets and jurisdictions to operate and may restrict or deny services in certain countries at its discretion. If that wasn't clear enough, the company made a further update about an hour ago that said after 90 days effective on the 9th, users who are not in accordance with Binance's, on the 12th, on Binance's terms of use, will continue to have access to their wallets and funds, but will no longer be able to trade or deposit on Binance. So your funds are safeu, but eventually you do need to withdraw them at some point. So within 90 days, withdraw them. You can still trade for 90 days, but after that, you can only withdraw, essentially. Thanks to draconian laws, U.S. citizens get a raw deal when it comes to trading cryptocurrencies. However, those left feeling deflated over the latest news have some cause for celebration. Binance US is coming just moments after the company officially announced its partnership with BAM Trading Services in order to offer trading services to U.S. How will the exchange boldly go where no man, except for the likes of Huobi and Bitflyer, has gone before, succeed where others failed? Well, it's because it's Binance, and this company is going to take over the world. By teaming up with BAM, the exchange will be able to effectively license out its technologies to a U.S. partner who is fully regulated with FinCEN approval. However, currently Binance has no KYC absolute requirement. Now, if you don't KYC on Binance, you can withdraw up to 2 Bitcoin a day, which is plenty fine for, honestly, probably 90% of people. However, after a while, you're not going to be able to do anything on Binance except for withdraw. Now, sure, you could probably use a VPN and still withdraw your crypto and trade on the platform. How would Binance really know? I wouldn't recommend doing that, though, because if sooner or later, if they do find out, you're messing with your money at that point. And what if they shut down your account because they figure out you're trading from the US? How are they going to do that with a VPN? I don't know, but it's probably just not a good idea. It's just better safe than sorry. Now, the Binance US, I'm assuming, is going to be full KYC, as just about any U.S. Exchange is. Now, I heard from somewhere this was definitely like a third-party type deal, that the Binance US is only going to trade Ethereum and Bitcoin at first. I doubt it's going to be all of the coins, as, you know, even Kraken and Coinbase has found problems with that over time because some coins are considered securities, yada, yada, or they're uncertain. There's always Kraken, there's always Coinbase, and so Binance soon to go for U.S. users. So I want to show you guys this video here, and this is probably, honestly, this is one of the most damning evidence against Craig Wright not being Satoshi. Now, the volume of this is very low, and I will try to repeat what he said after that, just in case anybody is listening. If you are listening, you might want to crank your volume, at least for the next, 16 seconds, because, again, this is really low, and I have it maxed. So, listen to what Craig Wright says here.
Back in 2008, had this section on how identity worked in Bitcoin. I remember reading it, probably when I wrote it.
Oh, when I wrote it. He just throws it off. Anybody not watching, because I know some of you just listen to this as a podcast, I would highly recommend you watch just for a moment. He says, back in 2008,
had this section on how identity worked in
had this section of how identity worked in Bitcoin.
I remember reading it, probably when I wrote it.
I remember reading it. Probably when I wrote it, and he just waves it off and immediately turns face away from the camera and starts walking. He realized he messed up there. Now, of course, that could just be a Freudian slip of some sort, but that's probably the worst thing I've ever heard Craig Wright say. That's just basically, I remember reading it when Bitcoin had this section of identity. Probably when I wrote it, though. Yeah. No, the real Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever took all the time and put so many man hours, hundreds of man hours, or months, or maybe a year longer in time to make Bitcoin, and to reach out to other people and have them all assist in Bitcoin, and then have it explode and talk to everybody on forums and be around for the next couple years before you disappear. You would remember writing something like that. You would say, in 2008, I wrote on Bitcoin, on identity and Bitcoin, yada yada. You wouldn't word it where I read this on Bitcoin when I wrote it. It's just, Craig Wright is not Satoshi Nakamoto. If you believe Satoshi Nakamoto is Craig Wright, then you just have how much. Let me just ask you, how much BSV do you own? And that's okay if you own it, but you're getting desperate at this point, because there's absolutely zero evidence. In fact, more evidence against him being Satoshi than he is Satoshi. You're just defending your bags at the moment, and fair enough. Do what you got to do. Moving on to other news, Visa, PayPal say they'll pay $10 million to run Facebook Coin. So Facebook's foray into crypto has been met with mixed reaction. It sure has. Some are hailing it as the next step in a global financial revolution, even though it's still just corporate. It's not your money. It's corporate Facebook money. It's Zuckcoin. So it has nothing to do with that. While others have expressed concern over the company's shady past record when it comes to security, privacy, and data abuses. Although playing devil's advocate, it is sort of a new financial revolution, the fact that they're making this coin, and it does hype cryptocurrency a little bit. But again, it really centralizes it to a corporation, which is exactly the reason why we started mining Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and stuff like that in the first place. This is the antithesis of crypto, but it is good for crypto? ? I know, right? The report added that over a dozen firms, which include MasterCard, Visa, PayPal, Stripe, Booking, Uber, have formed a consortium and agreed to pledge $10 million each to secure governance over the new coin. Again, so this is centralized. This is centralized times 10, right? This is not just centralized anymore. This is not just like Ripple, like oh, Ripple, okay, we made this coin. We're trying to get these banks. We're trying to move coin around, and if you hold it, you might make some more money. Great, right? This is not that. This is a stable coin that you will make no money on, and you need to pay $10 million to run their nodes to make probably millions upon millions upon millions more than you just put in. Right? This is centralized times 10. This is the antithesis of crypto. There is no doubt about it. I can't express that in any more greater detail than it. But everybody's psyched about it, or at least half of the people are, and the rest realizes that this is just the centralization of crypto, the stealing of the crypto name in order to make money. That's what corporations are going to be doing. I've called it for the past months that corporations are going to be coming out with cryptos, and it's going to be in the guise of a crypto when it could have just been a digital token all along, or it could have just been some digital money transfer or coupon, and they're all going to say, well, this is our coin, and we're going to make billions of dollars over this because it hypes. They just need that name. In the same way that Hellman's mayonnaise needs a website. Why do they need why do you need to go onto a mayonnaise website? Just so that they can have it, so that their stock can go up because they have a website. Why do they need a Twitter, right? So that they can look good to the public, so that they can have, Twitter on here. And now we're going to slap the crypto name on everything. Just watch. I mean, I don't think anybody disbelieves me in any of my viewers disbelieve me. If you do, just watch. In the next couple years, we're going to see all kinds of corporations coming out with cryptos, especially when Facebook and all these corporations that put in $10 million are making billions of dollars. You would too if you were a corporation. Hey, all we need to do is just put a crypto, bam, smack that on there and design it a little bit, and boom, our profits are going to explode. And of course they're going to do that. They have shareholders, they have investors, etc. The report added it was reported that last month the social media giant was recruiting backers and aimed to raise $1 billion for the crypto project. Why do you need $1 billion? Did Satoshi Nakamoto need $1 billion? No. Did Charlie Lee need $1 billion? No. You could make a crypto. You don't need $1 billion. Why Ethereum even needed an ICO? I don't even know. But who knows? ICOs and funding like that really don't bother me so much. Even with Ethereum, they needed a lot of funding, and it turned out to be an excellent coin, and will always be around and always be used. One of the most used coins, period, Ethereum. And they needed that money to get started. But $1 billion to make your centralized coin, $10 million from each company, those companies are going to make a lot more money than just $10 million that they put in. The currency, Libra, a global coin, is expected to be officially announced next week. Stablecoin will be pegged to a basket of government-issued currencies, and to avoid the volatility of crypto. So it's just going to be a basket of fiat. So it's essentially a stable coin. So you're not going to make any money by holding it. Don't think that you are. Now, I did hear that Facebook might pay people for watching ads and things like that in this. Again, you might get one Facebook coin after watching 100 ads or something like that, but they're going to make, remember, every ad that portrays on Facebook that Facebook puts on there, those ads paid Facebook hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to run on there, and they're going to give you maybe $1 for watching them. So you're just getting totally screwed over. They are just putting it to everybody around them. Boom. Oh, we'll give you $1 for watching 10, 20 ads when they made tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars for you watching that ad, and you're going to get paid absolute pennies. It's just like a man above you smoking a big cigar with a big belly, and you got this big distended belly from lack of protein, and he's just taking his sub, and he's just dropping little bits of little bits of bread on the ground, and you're like licking your finger and then putting it to the asphalt so that the little breadcrumbs stick to it. There's a couple rocks on there, but you're so hungry it doesn't matter, right? When you're that hungry, right? A couple little rocks. Who cares about a couple little rocks, right? Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you for your Facebook coin. Again, the corporations are going to rule cryptocurrency in years. I hate to be that negative, but you all know it's true. Corporations rule everything, and they always have, and they always will. They're not going to they're not going to be like, well, we're going to incorporate Bitcoin. How do they make money off that? Well, by gathering a little bit of Bitcoin, but that's paltry. That's a little bit. That's not enough. They got to control it, and they will. I'm not saying Bitcoin will die, or Litecoin, or Ethereum, or all these other coins are going to die because of it, but they're eventually, going to get shadowed just a little bit. Now, Google Trends shows Bitcoin is about to explode in South Korea. So take a look at the Google Trends worldwide chart for Bitcoin searches over the last week. Do you see a pattern forming? If you can mouse over the high points, you'll see that searches reach a peak at exactly the same time every day. Almost eerie, right? I used to actually live in the city of Erie. Well, actually kind of inside of it and outside of it. But interestingly enough, just knock one E off that. So over time, you can see at the same time every day. Now take a look at the Google Trend charts for South Korea at 7 a.m., more or less to the minute. Almost every day for the last week, Bitcoin searches reached their peak here. Boom, 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 boom. South Koreans are literally waking up to Bitcoin on their minds. They're Googling it on the subway and reading about it on their way to work at 7 in the morning. This country of 50 million people is a high-tech hub that's big on consumer electronics, esports, and global innovation. So it's really no surprise that cryptocurrency is about to explode in South Korea. Now, I want to argue that cryptocurrency has already exploded in South Korea. In fact, CoinMarketCap had to exclude South Korean exchanges from the average price of Bitcoin because they're way above. I remember back before they did that, Bitcoin was $300, $400, $500 more on every South Korean exchange than it was anywhere else, and it was raising up the average and making it sort of look false. If it says 5,000 and it's only 4,800 on your exchange, you're like, well, what is this? Because they were raising the average, so they had to get rid of that. And one of the reasons why that is because Koreans are, similar to Japanese. Koreans are very now oriented. They have a different kind of mindset. It's that very Asian mindset of their own culture, and when something explodes, it explodes really big in Japan and Korea. And they just so happen to value their Bitcoin a lot. And now another reason that is too is that it's very difficult to get won or other currencies in or out of South Korea. Their regulations make it very difficult to do that. So there's no arbitrage. So you can't just go, oh, I see Bitcoin is very high on a South Korean exchange, so I'm going to buy it on Coinbase where it's $300 less, send a whole bunch of it to a South Korean exchange, and then get my US dollar. It doesn't really work like that, and that's why an exchange can be really high. If you've ever noticed that exchanges are almost always the same price, very similar. Now, some might be 50, 60, $100 more or less, but it always fluctuates. And why is that? That's because of arbitrage trading. I could go on Coinbase when Bitcoin is at 5,000 and then send it to Kraken when it's at 5,200 and sell, right? So if I sell it on Kraken, that's going to lower the price back down to 5,000, and then I'm going to have to do that again in a different exchange. So that's why it's always sort of fluctuating in and out. Because if one exchange goes through the roof, everybody's going to put their Bitcoin on it and sell it back down. If one exchange is really low, everybody's going to put their money on that exchange and bring it up. So the arbitrage trading always sort of works itself out. Whereas you can't really do that in South Korea so easily. It has since worked itself out a little bit more since that happened, and that was about a year, maybe a year and a half ago when the South Korean exchanges were excluded. So according to a report by intelligence firm Syndicator, recent regulation, the burgeoning cryptocurrency exchange scene in the country's history and culture are all key factors when it comes to Bitcoin acceptance. In fact, South Koreans already make up some 30% of the total cryptocurrency trading globally. On top of that, around 30% of all salaried workers own crypto assets of some kind and trade with varying degrees of frequency. So the government also allocated 1 trillion won, about 880 million, to spend on blockchain development. So when South Koreans start buying it up, and anybody in the world, honestly, it's going to create more demand. So now kind of a long article real quick here, and I'll try to breeze through this. This is more on the Kleiman versus Craig Wright lawsuit. So the ongoing Kleiman and versus Wright lawsuit has started to heat up as the plaintiffs want more answers from Craig Wright, the man who claims to be Satoshi. The Kleiman estate represents the now deceased Dave Kleiman, a security breacher that some may believe may have been a member of the pseudo-anonymous group operating under the Satoshi Nakamoto moniker. According to Ira Kleiman, his brother David's inheritance was manipulated during a multi-year partnership with Australian native Craig Wright. Now, also, with the whole recent Paul LeRoux, maybe Satoshi Nakamoto, it may be the case that Craig Wright got a hold of some encrypted hard drives from Paul LeRoux with a bunch of original Satoshi and was like, hey, Dave Kleiman, I need your help with something. I know you're really great at cybersecurity, so here, take these hard drives and decrypt them. And he may have done that, or they may still be working on that. So again, the case is extremely vague, and how Satoshi came to be, or who Satoshi is, or how these two are involved in it, again, is yet to be really clarified, and it's one of the great mysteries of our time, actually. Like, that's not even an exaggeration. More recently, Wright was deposed and refused to answer questions about his current and former wife and certain questions in regard to his alleged Bitcoin addresses. Wright did claim to own the addresses to the first 70 blocks mined on the Bitcoin blockchain. So not long after the once redacted list of Bitcoin addresses was unsealed, Bitcoin security specialist WizSec researched the addresses and stated Wright's claim of ownership was still meaningless. Moreover, one of the addresses recently used in the case was signed by the real owner. The legitimate owner of the address in question was called Wright a liar and a fraud in the signed message. Wright's legal team explained that he could provide the public addresses for the first 70 blocks, but also said he did not have public addresses for Bitcoin that was mined after those blocks because the information is held in a blind trust. Wright presumably cannot disclose certain information tied to the purported trust. Wright's lawyers did emphasize to the court that Wright is the best person to explain the complex manner by which Bitcoin was mined and held in the trust. No, he is not. He's just going to lie the whole time. Again, anybody could claim a public address. I could just go on the Bitcoin Block Explorer, find a totally random public address and say that it's mine. That doesn't mean that it's mine. That's what he did. I could go and find the first 70 blocks as well and then claim them. That doesn't mean that they're mine. I just said, these are mine, and that's it. I could walk down the street, see a Lamborghini sitting in somebody's driveway or a sweet garage, and I could be like, that's my Lamborghini, and that doesn't mean it's mine. That's not how anything in this world works at all. It boggles my mind how anybody could think that that's a thing. Even if he is Satoshi, that's still not any proof. You have to sign and move it. You have to own the private keys. But either way, and even still, you could essentially steal those private keys if you could decrypt the hard drives of Satoshi, if you happen to have them, if Satoshi is dead, or if Satoshi was Paul LaRue and he happens to have them for some reason. And that still doesn't mean you're a Satoshi, but it's as close as we're going to get. According to the court document, after he mined the first 70 blocks of Bitcoin, Wright allegedly designed a unique algorithm. This algorithm automated the key generation process so that after the block 70 was mined, blocks that followed would be assigned to a different public address. Sure, why not? This supposedly means the coins were mined directly into the blind trust after the scheme was implemented. The document also says that Wright disposed of all his mining rigs used to process Bitcoin blocks through 2009 and 10. What does that have to do with the hard drive that is containing the Bitcoin or containing the wallets with the private key? So just again, that's totally irrelevant. I could take my graphics cards or my entire computer and hurl it in a river, but I mean, if my Bitcoin is on an exchange or if my Bitcoin is on the hard drive that I pulled out first, that has nothing to do with it, right? I mean, rip out your hard drive and throw your computer. Oh, I disposed of my mining rig. Well, what does that have to do with you owning or not owning any Bitcoin? I mean, you can still have it on a hard drive or on a ledger or on a zip drive or on a paper wallet. That has literally nothing to do with your ownership of Bitcoin. So he did not keep any of the public addresses associated with the Bitcoin he mined after block 70. Sure, but he happened to just go along and find his first 70 blocks. I mean, sure. Oh, right. Okay, so you know exactly 70, but after that, you just don't. Dr. Wright ceased mining by the end of 2010. At that time, the value of Bitcoin fluctuated between 6 cents and 29 cents. The private keys needed to access the encrypted file of the data were necessary to retrieve the information about Bitcoin. Dr. Wright mined after block 70 has been split into multiple key shares through a version of Shamir's secret sharing algorithm, an algorithm created by Adi Shamir to divide a secret, such as a private encryption key, into multiple parts. Oh, wow, what a great story. Oh, sure. Yeah, no, I split all the private keys into all these multiple parts, and, I'm Satoshi, I own these blocks, but the private keys are split into multiple parts with a secret algorithm. Sure. It's just, oh my God, it gets worse and worse. After using Shamir's secret sharing algorithm, sure, why not? Wright insists that again, you just have to have a level of, you just have to disregard your entire disbelief system. You know what I mean? Like just throw it in the trash. If you have disbelief, pick it up and throw it in the garbage. I mean, just spike it in there so the whole trash can falls over and everything just spills out in order to believe this. Wright insists that the key shares were then distributed to multiple individuals, including in the blind trust. Sure, why not? The system Wright and his partners imposed made it so no single participant could extract the information, and Wright alone does not have the ability to access the encrypted file. Dr. Wright does not know the public address of the Bitcoin held by the trust, so it's gone then. Because of the blind trust complications, the document seems to suggest that Wright doesn't have enough information to claim the ownership because the keys were transferred into the blind trust with multiple owners. However, the plaintiff still want a comprehensive list of the public addresses of all the Bitcoin Wright allegedly mined before December 2013. An order signed by the judge shows that Wright must produce this list by June 17, 2019, and if he cannot comply, the court may conduct a showcase cause evidentiary hearing. The defense believes that Kleiman's demand that Dr. Wright authenticate every single document related to the trust is facially overburdensome, and unreasonable. Dr. Wright has produced. So, it's basically saying that the defense, that Dr. Wright's defense is that, to authenticate every single document is overburdensome and unreasonable. So that would be like if me and a partner had a business and we made millions of dollars. And then that partner died and we had some kind of trust. Whether that trust was fabricated or not, I have a lot of the money and there's a lot of money and stuff like that in these different bank accounts, right? And there's this court dispute over it. And my defense, hear me out here. My defense, I'm not a lawyer, but right, this is pretty easy. My defense was to say that because I have to authenticate every document, because the other family is suing for my part of the money that I took from the deceased that I worked with, and we made millions of dollars together, and he died, right? And the family was like, hey, like, we didn't get any of that money. Where is that money? And I'm in court, and I say, you know what? Every single document, if you want me to sign every single document of that's overburdensome and unreasonable. Right? So that means I just get to keep my millions of dollars because I don't want to show you my bank account information, right? I have like 10 different bank accounts. That's so much information to give you. boom. I mean, my head just explodes reading this stuff. And anybody that thinks that Craig Wright is Satoshi without any evidence whatsoever is just, how much BSV do you own? Like, really, how much do you own? Like, it's so much, man. Them bags, like, you just got them over your shoulder like a continental soldier, right? You are carrying them BSV bags. They are getting really heavy. The last few weeks of documents stemming from Kleiman vs. Wright case has opened more doors with this seemingly never-ending rabbit hole. Wright's recent motion for a protective order was heavily redacted because he feared criminals would come after him, and an unredacted footnote also showed the name Paul LaRue, who was suspected of creating Bitcoin, who Craig Wright may have received the hard drives working with the United States government in order to imprison Paul LaRue, and he may have taken those hard drives and given them to Dave Kleiman, who was attempting to encrypt them, and they may still have them, trying to decrypt them with Calvin Ayre in his big farm that is not a mining farm, that may just actually be a big server farm trying to brute force these hard drives. How would he have these hard drives from the U.S. government? I don't know. Maybe he just somehow copied them, even though they're encrypted, like just copied the whole thing over, encryption and all, and now he's trying to do it. Who knows? Again, I can't wait till this is all over to see what happens here. But this is just a fallacy. This whole thing is a circus. This information opened up another rabbit hole where some people suggested that LaRue may have participated in designing the Bitcoin network. In addition to LaRue being added to the story, many cryptocurrency fans watching the case from abroad have been questioning some of the statements made by Wright. For instance, Vin Armani from Cointext and Dustin Dryfirst from the podcast Did You Know Crypto asked how the coins from Block 170 could be in a blind trust if he used a private key from Block 1 to sign in front of Gavin Andresen. Craig signed a message that I chose. Gavin's favorite number is 11, CSW, if I recall correctly, using the private key from block number 1. Andresen told Public 3 years ago. That signature was copied to a clean USB stick I brought from me to London and then validated on a brand new laptop with a freshly downloaded copy of Electrum. Ooh, Electrum wallet, really prestigious. Not even getting that core wallet, right? Screw that. I don't want to have to download 160 gigabytes. I'm going to use Electrum wallet. Okay. In addition to the showing, Bitcoin Foundation member John Matonis revealed a blog post written on May 2nd, 2016 that he witnessed a signing of verifying of messages using private keys for blocks 1 and 9. Crypto Duties have further pointed out that the coins from block 170 have never moved, and the blind trust story sounds extremely far-fetched. As the legal battle continues to unfold in Florida, many onlookers still think that more information will uncover some of the mysteries behind this case and whether certain peculiars are true or fabricated. So, yeah, there you go. As confused as I am, you bet. Coin market cap. We have a $265 billion market cap. Still trading kind of sideways, although some coins are down pretty hard. You can see $32 Binance coin, and we're having this dump right now. And that is probably likely due to the Americans that only have 90 days left to stop trading on Binance. So what this seems to me is that a lot of people have Binance coin, Americans have Binance coin on Binance, and they are selling their Binance coin for Bitcoin, which interestingly enough is the only coin that's in the green right now. Of course, we have a little Bitcoin SV at 0.2%, Tether a little bit down, a little bit up because everything is down, which is usually the case with Tether and stable coins. But you can see only stable coins are in the green. Look, USD dollar coin, True USD, Tether. It just goes on and on. Huobi token kind of, which, Bytecoin a little bit. But basically nothing is up. It's really interesting. And then Bitcoin is. So what that tells me is that people are selling their Binance coin for Bitcoin and then moving that Bitcoin off of Binance. That is almost certainly what is happening right now. So again, if you trade on Binance right now, I would highly recommend, I mean, you have 90 days. You have to do it sooner or later. I'm sure you're going to be one of those people. There's going to be a lot of those people that do it at the last minute. But here's the thing. If you have Binance coin on Binance and you leave it on Binance, and after those 90 days, you can't trade Binance coin. You can't sell it because they're not allowed to trade anymore. Now, Binance coin is on some other exchanges, and you would have to move that to some of these other kind of goofy exchanges. To be totally honest, there's very few You can see that most of it is just Binance itself under different pairings. But yeah, you will have to send your Binance coin somewhere else to sell it. So if you have Binance coin now, I don't mean to say dump it. I'm not looking to like pick up Binance coin. This is not like to benefit myself, but I would just sell it. You need to sell it within 90 days and sell that off. Get Bitcoin, get any other coin, to be totally honest, because then you can send that Bitcoin or any other coin to just about any other exchange. With Binance coin, if you're stuck with Binance coin, see, if you just take a look here, there's really not that many exchanges. There's some kind of goofy ones, like not like KuCoin or Coinbase or any of those bigger exchanges. It's just all these smaller ones. But fair enough. Do what you got to do with your Binance coin or anything on Binance. I would just get it off. I have nothing left on Binance. I got everything off of it because, again, 90 days, which is quite a long time. It's a few months, but better sooner than later. That's all I have for you guys today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video. It helps me out a lot. Sharing the video helps me out way more than anything, including subscribing. But social media in the description below. Give me a follow on those. My Twitter, for some reason, is locked right now. I think because of an algorithm, because I said I didn't do something. I know, weird, but I think an algorithm locked my Twitter account, and I'll get that unlocked in a second. But follow me on social media. I appreciate that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as usual, I will see you guys next time.